Teaching fats can be a challenge because they're actually somewhat complicated, but for the Operation Frontline course, we've really found that it's easiest if you break it into 3 broad categories. Just like the nutrition facts panel, this is an area where as a nutritionist you're going to have a lot more information than you're really going to be able to impart to your participants. But if you simplify it, break it down into these 3 broad categories, we've found that the participants grasp the knowledge a little bit better and they're able to work with it. When introducing unsaturated fats, you can refer to these as the good fats. The easiest way that we have found to communicate this idea to participants is to have them think of unsaturated or the good fats as liquid at room temperature or as ones that come from plants. Great examples are vegetable oils and olive oil. This is a really useful tool for participants when they're in the grocery store and they're trying to remember when they're in the oil aisle which type of fat they should buy. If they see that it's a liquid at room temperature or it comes from a plant, it's a good memory tool for them to choose the right fat. Saturated fats are the bad fats that we refer to, and the way we help participants remember these are that they come from an animal or they're solid at room temperature. So the examples that we would use are butter, and then also any type of animal fat like bacon or the skin on a chicken that's a more solid fat. And again, it's something that's going to help participants navigate the grocery store and make better decisions between the good fats and the bad fats. The ugly in the trio are the trans fat. And as a nutritionist, you have a lot more information on what actually goes into the process of creating trans fats, but I think it's important that you know you don't need to communicate that in great depth to your participants. Simply explaining that it's a chemical process that certain types of oil go through is probably sufficient. Additionally, it's important to help them understand where trans fats actually where they can be found in their food, and pie shells, baked goods, cookies, those sort of items are good to call out. The lesson on fats is a great opportunity to talk about health in general, obviously heart health in particular, and also the concept of cholesterol, LDL versus HDL. I think the key message, again, is to keep it simple, keep it straightforward so the participants can understand what you're talking about and it's something that they can use going forward. To introduce the idea of LDL and HDL types of cholesterol, a technique that's worked for us is to talk about it in terms of being in balance. That the LDL is the bad kind of cholesterol and HDL is good, and one of the ways that might be useful for them to remember that is that it starts with H, which you can associate with health. When talking about heart health, we can go back to this concept of the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good, obviously the ones that are generally liquid at room temperature and come from fish and from plants. A good tool for participants is to have them visualize this being a liquid and it's the same in the arteries and veins, that it's going to flow through them very easily, it's not going to get stuck, it's not going to cause heart disease. You can reassure them that this is not actually how it happens, but it's just a good way for them to remember what the good fats are doing in their body. Additionally, you might briefly want to touch on the fact that in general, the good fats are the ones that are going to lower that bad cholesterol and raise the good cholesterol, and that's great for their hearts. Moving on to the bad fats, the saturated fats, along the same lines, you can think of those as the ones that are solid at room temperature, and those are the ones that are going to get stuck in the arteries, stuck in the veins, and it's going to be bad for their heart. It's a nice visualization to remember why these fats are bad. Additionally, you can talk about how they actually raise the LDLs, raise the bad type of cholesterol. So again, that's bad for their heart. And finally, I think to really hit the point home about how bad trans fats are for heart health, it's important to refer to the cholesterol balance again and the fact that trans fats are responsible not only for raising the bad cholesterol, but they kind of hit the double whammy of lowering the good cholesterol. And I think if you hit those key messages when talking about the fats, the participants are going to take away some important information, and it's information that they can actually use when they're at the grocery store and they're trying to make healthy